I'll start with a disclaimer. We are all in the same boat, I'm sure, but there may be children that barge into this call or background noise of dogs barking or
coughing.
I currently have a movie set up with popcorn, snack thingies, cookies, water. Like, there's no reason for them to come up here until they hear my voice, and they'll be here.
Yes.
Behind the signs, work from home edition. This is real life, everybody. I, of course, had a repair guy knock on my door at like 10:57. Like, really?
Perfect.
All the
That's
time.
what we need. Maybe he'll like to come in and tell us about repairs, things we should look for.
Yes.
Who that's watching right now is in the same work from home boat? Can anybody give us a thumbs up or anything like that, just to show us who's also?
Maybe a thumbs down.
Ooh, thumbs down.
But we go back on Monday. Life will resume somewhat.
Yes.
I'm excited. Are you guys sending your kids back?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're on like 5 weeks of being together. We're ready. We're ready. I love them. We're ready.
Oh, we got one thumbs up.
Oh, there we go. Here they come.
So you're not alone. Part of what we love about this platform is that, usually we're together, but we really do like people to see that this is, although we look fabulous in our social, real life is still real life, and we're moms just like everybody else and just trying to get through the damn day.
Trying to figure it out.
But like, really how tired I look.
That's what filters are for, Jessica.
Yeah, you haven't turned on your filter yet.
Oh, maybe I need to do that. I'll figure that out.
So are you guys in the like jammies up below and business up top, or did you actually put some real pants on today?
Oh no, I even put shoes on.
Oh, damn.
Like, I
have my slippers on.
I've got slippers and jeans.
Slippers and jeans, that's right.
Yeah.
Nice. As soon as we're done, I'll be putting the slippers back on. Let's be
Right?
real.
Yeah.
All right. So should we get down to business? Get our lovely followers ready?
Get down to business.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while. So I was in lockdown in December when we were supposed to film our November episode. My bad.
And then I was in lockdown.
Yeah, and so we decided to do it this way because we're all in isolation this time.
Yes.
Yay, COVID.
Yeah, COVID. So what have you guys been finding in the market lately? How has it been for you?
Crazy. Still crazy. Bananas, bonkers. I'm over it. I'm done. I think this crap needs to just end, but it's for me, I'm working with first-time home buyers, and it is like a dog-eat-dog world out there. People are, so we went to see a house this weekend, loved the house, wasn't the right house, but we're like, you know what, let's take bets on this. Like, where is this gonna go? And we literally went like, this is where people are gonna be at. This is where you would be crazy to go to win it, but this is where the crazies are gonna be, and it even surpassed that.
Yeah.
And I thought my bid, we actually took a bet of like, who's going to win this and pretend like we're putting an offer in, loser buys coffee.
Yeah.
It was crazy. It was smoked all of our bets. Like, it was just unreal, the amount of money that's going out there for old bungalows. Like the townhouse. Did you see the townhouse in Orangeville that went for over nine?
Over 900,000 for a townhouse. I could not.
And not
Which
even a
is gonna
brand
totally-
new, like super fancy one either.
No, but it was the only one.
Only
yeah.
one.
There's very few things under $1 million right now, right? So
Exactly.
the fact that it's newer, that's
You're not putting any money into roofs, windows, floors, all of those. And that's part of our conversations that we're having. But at the same point, like, how long are you going to live there to make it back? Or is the market really going to just keep going up and up? And like, at what point does it just have to level out again?
So I actually got a call from a mortgage broker buddy this morning. I don't know about you ladies, but I often get calls from them, probably monthly, just touching base, how things are going on their end with financing. Yeah. And we ended up having a long chat, mainly because I was like, listen, like, what are you telling your people? Because I'm starting to now hear that rates are going up.
Yes.
But by going up, people automatically assume that it's like the real estate market, that it's going up and it's going to go crazy. And he was like, everyone just needs to relax.
Yeah.
They went up very, very minute amount on fixed rates. And he's like, you know what? Variable rates are still really, really low. And he had some really interesting points as far as telling people basically, go with a variable, your rates are still low.
Yes.
And then when your mortgage payments start, you can increase your payments.
Mm-hmm.
So if rates do go up, you're not really paying any more than you already were. And in the meantime, you were just paying down your principal.
Yes.
So I think that is going to be a huge factor, that prices are still going to go up because mortgage rates are still, yes, they're going up, but they're going up so minutely that I don't think it's going to translate into a balanced market anytime soon.
No,
I don't think so either. I think even right before Christmas, I was talking to a local realtor who had a listing, beautiful home, and she said that there was like 6 or 7 offers that came in that were already sold firm, closing January, February. So I think there's a sense of desperation from, oh my God, we already sold. We need to like smack people out of the water. We have to win this. So we need to go next level because there's nothing else to bid on if we don't win this house.
yeah. Yeah, 100% there's people caught in that mark because these inventory levels historically, I was reading a stat the other day that like never in history has there been this little for this long of time. Kind of.
Yeah.
Like a dip for a couple or something, but this is like historically speaking, it's unheard of. So the other side of the coin then is like what needs to change. We were talking about this earlier in the week when we were just talking about today's session. Like what is the magic that needs to change? There's all ideas being thrown around. But maybe
I like Sarah's idea.
Yeah, I'm sticking to mine. Everyone sign a contract.
Yeah.
All go at once.
Yes.
Yeah.
List it.
Yeah,
But
listen, all on the same day.
Post to the people watching, like, has anybody heard anything that sounds solid in terms of addressing the issue? Like the most recent headlines have been this whole CMHC funded report suggesting this property surtax on properties anything over $1 million, which the way Orangeville's going, that's going to impact property here.
I think that's going to cause a huge uproar, and I'd be really hard pressed to see it come to fruition because everything is over $1 million right now. Right. And I don't think that, you know, people that live in the GTA or the GTHA are going to have it because that is pretty much
all they're working with.
Quarters of the population of the homeowners in the GTHA. It's insane. It's not our fault.
I think too, like Toronto transactions are double hit with transfer tax as well, right? So if you factor all of this extra stuff, just the cost alone to move, I don't think that's going to solve, like, create home price, like home price to come down. So yeah, I don't know if anyone has heard anything that actually sounds legitimate. I mean, yes, interest rates is a factor, but the conversation we've had too is these people that are being able to go in and bid $200,000 over what the list price is, and based on what their pre-approvals are, like that, a couple percentage points isn't really going to affect the people, in my opinion. So
I think there's too much money for that. And look at, do you see Sergo's comment here? Sergo, that's not what I want to hear.
Yeah, no,
I want the magic solution to better, not worse.
Well, but again, like you said, it's a magic solution, right? I mean, so just to kind of clarify, if there are people listening that might not be as, you know, well versed in the lingo that we're using, it's that for the last year and a half, we have had a significant shortage of homes for sale, but we have so many buyers, which is what's leading to all of this. So what we're joking about right now is basically just, there are so many people that want to list. I have had so many inquiries. I know you ladies both have too, about people interested in listing their home. Yeah. But the big question mark is, well, where are we going to go? I don't want to list until I find the right home, and right being the operative word. Yes. Any time it's time to buy, like Sergo is saying, you know, there's a lot of people saying to wait, and none of us in the real estate profession or the mortgage profession think that that's a smart move. And that's not just because we want to make sales, guys. That's literally the truth. Nobody knows what the future has to hold. And historically, I think only once we have seen a decrease in property values. So we would have to hit a major recession, knock on wood, for that to happen. Take advantage while you can and start building equity while you have this crazy market. But the question still comes into play is, where are these people going to go? And, you know, us buyer agents are just running around like crazy trying to find that right house for people. But when we start digging into our numbers, it'll all make sense, because there's just like, we have what, maybe 4 or 5 days of inventory on market.
Yeah, I just pulled up right before we came on. There's 8 listings in Orangeville, and that's ranging from $6,000 to $2 million. Take your pick in the price points. Shelburne had 5, and it's surging a million. Like, it's 976.5 to 1.5 for an assignment sale of a build home. So yeah.
I know these new homes in Shelburne are blowing everybody's mind. They haven't even broken ground yet. Yeah. And these assignment sales for 1.4, 1.5, but they're not moving.
No.
You know, for anyone that invested in that neighborhood, there is money to be made, but like, come on, people are already being raked through the coals. That's just greedy, in my opinion. But, you know, by the time it's actually built, would it be worth that price? Yeah, probably.
Yeah, the way that stuff is moving and the way that Shelburne's projected to grow, yes.
Don't you kind of want to see some of the finishes, though? Because I know I've personally purchased a townhouse in Shelburne in the past, and it would not be worth that based on the finishes and the quality of work.
These are bigger homes. They're also
better
a
builder,
and the new builders that are coming into the area are phenomenal.
Yes,
the trade community, honestly,
so nice,
fantastic build. So it's nice to see that. But good segue into actually diving into these numbers, so we can all laugh about how ridiculous this is, because it's insane. So let's start with Orangeville. Jess, you're kind of already touching on Orangeville. You were talking about how we have 8 listings on market right now, active listings. Every single one of them has an offer presentation.
Yeah.
And no preemptives.
Out of curiosity, so we have 8 right now. From your experience, because you're both Orangeville natives, what is the average that we normally see active listings?
20 to 30, probably.
Yeah, to 40. Yeah, average. Yeah.
This time of year, I wouldn't like.
Oh,
we're typically slower this time of year, but not this slow. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah. So, what were the days on market for the listings? So right now, when we're talking about the stats, just to let everybody know, because we have a lot of people watching, which is awesome. Thanks for chiming in, everybody. We are discussing the December market numbers, obviously, because they just came out. We've had some time to decode them. And we did find a bit of a discrepancy. So the girls and I, when these numbers come out, you know, trust but verify. So we have found in the last 2 months a small discrepancy in Orangeville numbers. So what the Toronto Real Estate Board is putting out is slightly different than what we have been calculating. So we'll go over both, just so.
Yeah, it comes down to the line that they're pulling the numbers to do their report, and then transactions after that. So when we go back and look at the full month, December 31st, it kind of skews the story a little bit. Most of the numbers that you're going to see thrown around with other agents will be on those TREB reports, which is not to say that it's all the same data. It's just taken at different times. So we'll kind of like that a little bit. But based on the TREB report, we had daily market. So if we have 8 listings in Orangeville right now, and generally speaking, houses are only standing on market for a week, they're all going to be gone within a week. Nothing else comes up.
That's what we're saying.
Looking at.
And that leads back to the offer presentations, right? Yes. I mean, people are putting them up. They're saying, do not bring me an offer for 7 days. We're going to review them all in 7 days. So it makes sense that it's usually around that 7 to 9. Right. Because by the time they do the presentation, accept an offer, and they get the deposit, because you can't consider it sold until we get the deposit.
Right.
So that makes sense.
Yes.
Sorry.
There was 29 sales and 28 new listings. So that just reflects how fast things are changing over. And each house is sitting at around 46,000. You had a little bit of a different number though.
Yes. So when I ran the numbers, and I'll be honest, I can't seem to figure out where the discrepancy is coming from. I got similar, but $1,022,000. Really the important thing to note is that in November, which unfortunately we missed our episode in November, but it was the historical milestone where detached hit over 1 million for the first time on average in Orangeville. My numbers were 1,022,000, and Treb was saying 1,046,000 for detached on average. Yeah.
Oh, banana to think of. And we had similar results in towns. So we're saying average last month was 811, but we disclosed that we've had a transaction surpass 900,000 now for a townhouse. And that just sold, the one on Carlton.
Yeah.
The semi. So yeah, so things just keep climbing, and according to CREA reports and whatnot, this next year unless there's a big shift in things, the growth is going to continue. So yeah.
But it's fantastic news for any sellers of, detached housing, of course, we always know detached are really valuable, but it's the inflation of the attached housing.
Yeah.
Because, we've talked before about semis and how semis in Orangeville, most of them are significantly older. Like a lot of them are 30 to 50 plus years.
Yes.
No garages. So for their average to be $811,000 right now, amazing. So we're seeing, I would expect to see a huge surge in semi-detached listings coming up.
Oh, we lost Sarah.
Oh. Real life.
Yeah.
Motherhood calls. That's okay.
Yes.
We'll fill in for her. So yeah, all in all, really good numbers. We saw an increase across the board in all attached and detached housing.
Yes.
Now, Shelburne was interesting because it was actually the opposite.
Yeah.
Which I found super weird.
Yes.
Again, I think it just leads to the amount of active listings and the age of the homes that were coming up for sale. But while Orangeville saw growth across the board, Shelburne saw a slight decline across the board. 14 came on market and 14 sold. So, and it was a little bit longer. We were the 9 days on market here in Shelburne. So again, offer presentations. Townhomes saw a very slight decline in price for 803.5 thousand. Only went down 0.6% compared to November. So still holding pretty strong as far as towns are concerned. None of the semis sold because we don't have very many here. And our detached went down almost 6%. Now, again, when I started to dig into why that is here in Shelburne, the detached that came up in December were mostly significantly older or century homes. So I think that's it's all relative. In November, there were a ton of the newer 0 to 7-year-old homes, and December it was older. So it kind of makes sense when you break it down that way.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's the gist of kind of what's going on here in Dufferin County. It's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
I think everywhere it's a bit of a roller coaster, but it's just, if you've been thinking of selling your home and you don't necessarily need to relocate here, list now, don't wait, I think would be the overall message.
Yes.
Yeah, I think to Sergo's point, a lot of people, first-time home buyers, going to mom and dad and saying, like, I've had a couple of cases where that's happened.
Yes. Being
Being able to bump up our approved amount so much that it really, really is helping. But I think everybody kind of has that mindset now. So everybody's kind of getting a little bit of extra bump in what they can afford. And that's what's pushing us even higher, especially with these first-time home buyer, like the homes that we should be in $600,000-$700,000 range are going for like $900,000. It's pretty surreal. So.
Well, how are you guys guiding your buyers? I mean, I have also had a few buyers that we've had to go try and scrape up some extra funds, but there's a really, really specific strategy to use in this market. And I'd love to hear what you ladies are guiding your clients on in that regard.
Well, I think it's just really looking into the list price and sale price ratio, what's happening, and trying to use that kind of as a guide to kind of give realistic news to your clients and say, gone are the days of this is going to sell for this price. Like, it's not, even if it's listed at what we believe is market value compared to the, you know, the sale last week, it, because of the supply and demand issue, just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. So all you can do is try your best and be as prepared as possible and try to use those ratios as your guide.
I think I'm also, for me, when I'm walking into a house, I'm gauging my client's reaction. And I'm listening to how they're talking about it. And then I'm turning it back on them and saying, hey guys, these are the words that you're saying. These are your emotions that you're feeling. The next 7 groups that went through here are saying the same thing. So like trying to get in the mindset of what other people are thinking, because this is an emotional market. It's not a, to your point, Jess, that we're looking at black and white. This is what averages are. Like, I was looking at a house in Tottenham that sold for 800 and something a month ago, and I had to tell my client, listen, like what it sold for a month ago is a totally different market than what we're sitting in right now. Yes, it sold for 800 some odd there. You're probably going to push over $1 million at this point. So unless you're prepared to hit that mark, don't even go in there, because the upset of going into these houses, falling in love with them, losing over and over again is heartbreaking. And it's kind of to the point of try not to be too emotional when you walk into these places, but be realistic in what you're looking for. Like, you can't go into a house and have everything done, all the upgrades, or brand new, and expect on a well-priced house that you're going to be able to get it for 40,000 over. That's just not realistic. That's not how people are winning this week. And in 3-4 weeks from now, if we have more inventory, maybe that will change. But it's really hard to tell because it's changing so quickly.
Now, how are you ladies guiding your buyers as far as like price point, what to even look at? I know personally there's an automatic assumption, and it's the correct assumption, that you're going to have to pay over the list price, because as listing agents, we're guiding sellers to list slightly under market value.
To get the eyes in, get the foot traffic.
People know, right, they're going to have to pay more. So that's a listing strategy. So you almost, I've been doing the opposite for buyers is, you know, if you have $1 million budget, we're setting your cap at 900,000 as far as what we're looking at. So that when that perfect home comes along, you can actually have a chance to win that bid and afford it without worrying about coming up with extra cash funds. And then there's the appraisals that we have to worry about too.
Exactly. And I think in most cases, I think that's a good solid approach, and I try to stick with that one. There are those few that kind of sneak through though, that you see that they've been priced high and you're like, okay, I don't think that one would go for much more. Like, I know I've seen a couple in Orangeville in the last little bit that I'm like, oh, maybe this one's worth looking at. But again, you come into that, do you want to put your client into that position that they're looking at a house that's at their max, and even $40,000 could blow it up. So it's hard. It's hard to figure out the best one. It's really understanding my clients as well, and like how their mindset is. Are they being realistic? Are they thinking, okay, this is where we need to be, and listening to the advice that I'm giving. So, I mean, I'm fortunate enough. I have awesome clients that are taking the advice, but there's days that I check in and I'm like, am I being like the worst human being? I'm so sorry. I hate to be like a party pooper every time
I know.
I'm just like, I just want to
get Debbie Downer every time I talk to a buyer. You know, they send me a listing. Oh, I just saw this one that you sent over. It's perfect. And I'm like, well, yes, but don't fall in love yet, please.
Yes,
let's go see it. But I need you to just check your emotions, and that is such a hard thing to do in this market. Well, in any time buying a house. But that's probably the #1 advice for buyers right now is just check your emotions at the door, and you need to think of this as a business transaction, and does it make sense at the end of the day? And you know what? Sometimes the emotions are the step on the other side. Hey, little buddy. Hi, handsome.
You got cookies.
You know, sometimes that is the step in the right direction, that, you know what, okay, this one particular house is worth me having to go a little bit over my budget. And that's fantastic. But it's all the stuff that happened before then and the 50 other houses you see before then, that it's important to try and look at them from a business. It is an investment, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's one that you spend a lot of time in.
Yes. And they say to have a nice house because you're going to spend less time leaving and spending money elsewhere. So make sure it's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can talk. You can't talk.
Well, I guess more I know we've been putting this, more important than ever is really doing your homework. And, if you're considering either getting into the market for the first time or making kind of that transition jump to something a little bit bigger, then really starting with that mortgage pre-approval, getting that, box to stay in terms of a budget, and then getting your home prepared to list. Because once you start that viewing process and buying process, and it moves very, very quickly. So you have to be more really in this market with it. So yeah.
Sorry about my coughing there, guys. I'm still slowly recovering from this. But yeah, I think that's all fantastic advice, and I would agree 100%. One of the things that I would love to see come across in this market, because it's still, every time I give an offer over to a lender, there's like a when they see there's no conditions. I've been, for lack of a better term, scolded by mortgage professionals for having no conditions, but I'd love to know what their alternative is to get people into a home. But what I would love to start seeing is listing agents pushing pre-inspections.
100%. Yes.
Because you know what, for $300 to $500, you are more than going to make that back by giving your buyers peace of mind.
Yeah.
When they know they have to go in with no inspection and no finance condition. And as a seller, it's really the smartest way to go, because the likelihood of your sale actually closing is so much better when you have a documented, list of anything that could potentially be wrong or is not wrong with the home.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. 100%.
Are you guys seeing that?
No, it's very rare.
I haven't seen any in the houses, no.
Yeah, there are particular agents who really, really push that on their sellers, and whether they're paying for that out of their commission or they're asking the sellers to cover it, I really don't know. Honestly, as a listing agent, I would, again, encourage sellers to consider it. It's money very well spent. But the other thing is, you mentioned that pre-approval letter, and I've started to see on listings that agents are requesting them with the offer.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
Never seen that
I'm
before.
starting to see a lot more of the send a picture of the draft, but I haven't seen that yet, but it makes sense. I've had, to that point, I talked to an agent again before Christmas time who said that she had 2 deals fall apart on closing because they were pre-approved and couldn't close.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? No.
Well, I mean,
so it is happening. It's out there.
Are they going over their budget, right? So that's a really interesting one that I sort of, I was doing a course recently because, we've got a lot of downtime. I'm trying to learn some new things. And it was all over Canada, which was really cool. But a lot of them were from BC, and they said every single listing that's coming up right now is asking for the pre-approval letter and a physical photo or something of the deposit. There's just so many deals that are falling apart because of that, and I don't know if how do you guys feel about that?
Well, I think it's interesting. I remember when we first were saying, and that was the biggest fear, was that's all we were talking about was, is this house going to appraise? Is this house going to appraise? To be honest with you, looking back over the last year, I haven't heard of that many deals falling apart. So,
not the appraisal, that's for sure. And we haven't seen a lot of it here. Just from the other agents that I've been speaking to, as a whole, this has been a big ongoing issue.
Interesting.
Is financing, and that may not be because the house is being underappraised or they're paying over. It could just be that they've bid more than they can actually afford, and I think that that's kind of what they're looking for in there.
Could it also be too that something has changed in somebody's work over the months, like from the point of actually purchasing to closing, with lockdowns and layoffs and all these things. I'm sure we're seeing a lot of that. I'm sorry if you can hear the background noise.
That's okay. Like beginning, real life. My repairman is gone now.
Oh, now we're opening.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting market to navigate, and I just hope that buyers, you know, are building that thick skin. And I think it's really just making sure that you hire a good agent that can help you manage these crazy emotions and keep a level business mindset about it.
Yeah, and don't give up. Don't give up. Like it's hard, but you're gonna get there. I know a lot of times, like my buyers will be like, maybe we need to take a break, and I'm like, don't, because the moment you take that break, it's when it's all going to come together and the perfect house is going to come. It's just like when you want to go on vacation and you're not busy, you go on vacation, it gets busy. Yeah. So it's trying to keep everybody focused and spirits up, because it's upsetting to have to lose. I hate losing. I'm a competitive person. I like to win.
Right? I think one of the big things, and I know that you ladies have been doing the same because we've talked about it before, but guiding your clients in the sense of make that needs and wants list right away and go back to it time and time again. Because in this market, you start to get frustrated. I'm not finding the house that I want, or I'm being outbid. So you start to question your needs and your wants and those deal breakers. And you start to look at homes that have things that were on your deal breaker list.
Yeah.
And again, to me, and I know to you ladies as well, is we don't want to put someone in just any old house. We want to put them in the house that they want, and the house that they actually will spend some time in and enjoy being in.
Well, hopefully we're going to sell that house later, so we want it to be a good one.
The key. So that's just a big thing of advice I keep recommending. I have sent more needs and wants checklists to clients that I've been working with for ages, but I'll resend it to them and be like, guys, fill this out again. I feel like we're all over the map, and I don't want to put you in something you're not going to like tomorrow just because you're so emotionally stressed and exhausted right now.
Yeah. I think also, sorry.
Speaks to the point of really making sure that you're working with an agent that you jive with, because now more than ever, you're going to spend a lot of time with them.
Yeah.
Right. And yes, having someone that, like, I don't know, I feel like now more than ever, our role has become so much more of an emotional support role than it ever was. And having someone you can really connect with and that has best interest important right now. So making sure you do your due diligence and shopping for an agent, and finding the right fit for you, I think is really important.
Mm-hmm. Someone that they feel comfortable calling when they need that talk down off the ledge, because honestly, our job is so much more than just writing contracts. And it bothers me when clients call and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry to bug you again. It's like, but that's my job. Please bother. That's what I'm literally here for. There's no need to feel bad about it. If you need to have a conversation to get your head back in the right space, then that's what your agent should be able to do for you, for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
We should have got psychology degrees.
We should have.
Maybe we should.
Maybe.
Never too late.
Aspect of it.
Right. Well, that's pretty much all I had as far as, Dufferin County update here. It's a war zone like everywhere else. But I think the biggest thing that I noticed was that December was an absolute shit show. There was no homes for sale, and anything that didn't come up for sale, it's gone. So I'm really hoping to see, already we're seeing a lot more listings coming up in January. Of course, that's Omicron hit and everybody was out sick, and then the holidays, right? So I'm feeling very optimistic about January and February, but like you said yesterday, Sarah, while we were preparing for this call, I think spring is coming early.
Yeah.
I really do. I don't think, at least I'm praying.
I really don't want, in a normal stable market, sellers have this idea that they're going to wait to list to the spring because homes show better. People are, more buyers are out because it's more comfortable to go look at homes. You can see if there's water damage coming in, and it's just overall prettier and more enjoyable. But I don't think that's the best strategy right now for sellers, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of money out there and a lot of people that are willing to put that extra whatever have you. And yeah, if you want to make big money, this is definitely the time.
So what do you guys suggest for people that are thinking of selling, but they're in that limbo of, well, where do I go?
Pick up the phone and call an agent and see, what do you need to do to get your home ready? Okay, maybe you're thinking that, but I mean, if it's a matter of you need to declutter, you need to paint, you need to do a few things around the house, then start doing those things now. Don't wait for another month or two, because you might miss that perfect prime spot to actually get listed and to get top dollar. You might end up coming in a few weeks later. Like I saw this happen last year with a client of mine that market was hot, hot, hot. He needed a little bit of extra time to get ready, and we missed that huge amount of money. And I mean, he still did really well, but you got to play the game right and be ready to go if that's what you're thinking to do.
Yes, I'd say start prepping for sure. You know, be cognizant of those things that could pop up if you decide to do a pre-inspection, which again, if I didn't mention earlier, I highly recommend. But, you know, can you fix those things? Because the cost of fixing them, you're going to significantly make more money with knowing buyers don't have to worry about it.
Yep.
And then get yourself set up to start receiving listings. It's free for us to do that for you. It's, you know, a lot of times clients will be like, oh, but I don't want to bother you. I'm not really quite ready for that yet. Honestly, we do have automated systems that can just shoot you.
Give away the secret. I'm not up at 3 a.m. sending you emails.
There's a big difference between somebody who is starting to look and just kind of want to get a feel for the market versus what we do to send listings to someone who's actively hardcore searching for a home. Now, you know, that's not to discount all of the research and stuff that we do when someone's really looking. But if you're thinking about selling and the question is where am I going to go, then that seems like a logical place to start, is start looking, at least start getting a feel for what you can buy with the money that you have, getting an idea of what you can sell your home for so you can go get that important pre-approval we just talked about. Is all going to come into play. It's not as simple as it used to be. It's just being like, okay, I'm ready to list my home. Let's stick a sign on the lawn. There's so much more involved now as far as being ready because it's so fast moving.
And competitive. Yeah, you need to, I mean, staging is a huge thing right now too. So many people are going with that avenue.
Yes.
So it's, you got a lot to stack up against. But my son is currently painting my dining room table.
What color?
Green.
Oh, you love green. It's fine.
It's my favorite color.
Oh, my dear.
Did any of our viewers have any questions for us before we jump off? Because I know we're all super dying to get back into our jogging pants and slippers. Let's be real. If anybody had any questions, shoot them in the chat. Otherwise, I am going to try to download this and put it on our YouTube channel at Behind the Sign. And they can jump on there anytime to watch this over again, just because we're so awesome. You want to watch it over and over. Awesome. Next month, we're going to meet mid-month again next month, and we're hoping to have a special guest. We haven't quite nailed down who that's going to be, but we have some really awesome ideas on who we'd love to have on the show. Yeah. So if you would love to be on the show, or if you have any ideas of who you might like to hear from, the different professions. The last time we did this, we finally got our staging expert up on our YouTube channel, which was Esther from Olive and Ash. Some really awesome information about home staging on there if you are thinking of listing and curious about that process. Check it out. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining me today, ladies. I miss you.
Yes.
I hope to see you hopefully in the office next week, and I wish you both a really awesome week.
You too.
Talk to you
guys. Thanks for joining.
Coming in. I appreciate it.
Bye.